Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. So today I thought that I would film my cabin crew video. I've been waiting a while to film this, so I'm going to do it now because I wanted to do this for ages. So this is just like everything to do with cabin crew. I asked you guys some questions on Instagram, anything that you want to know, like any questions to do with cabin crew really. Cabin crew really, that you want to know. And oh, nice little stain there. I swear I have stains on all my clothes. Like, I don't know if it's makeup or what the hell it is, but yeah. But yeah, so I thought that I would do a yeah, just like a cabin crew chat. I picked out I think I've got 12 questions here, but I think I'll answer about 10. So I've got like a few questions here that I picked out on my iPad, and I'm just going to go through each one, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe because it helps me out a lot, and I hope you guys like the video. Do you guys like my hair? I think it's so cute. My boyfriend cut it for me and did me little like bangs as well, which I think is so cute. Okay, stop in a dick. Right, so okay, the first one is someone just put any tea. I'm guessing you mean like any tea, like any gossip. I mean, I think we'll leave that for another day. I mean, there's a few things that, there's a lot of things that you do see when you're cabin crew. But you know, some things that you just can't really dive into, you know, so we'll save that for another time. Someone said, I want to start cabin crew, but I don't know how. Okay, so I have a lot of people asking me about like qualifications, like do you need any qualifications to do cabin crew? I was never checked once for any qualifications. I literally just applied online, sent my CV, applied online, filled out the questionnaire, did a little exam test after, which was about 5 minutes long, and then I got an email for an interview, literally just before Christmas or after Christmas, I can't remember exactly. But yeah, so if you literally don't know how to start, all I would suggest is just go online, type in the airline that you want to work for, and then just follow their like process, application forms and stuff like that. As far as I know, I don't think they asked for any like qualifications. Well, the airline that I worked for didn't. Obviously each airline is different, but from what I know, I don't think like qualifications that really matter. But yeah, if you don't know how to do it, literally just go online, and like search the airline that you want to go for, and then yeah, it should be really simple. Like, it was simple for me, so yeah. Did you make lots of friends? I literally made so many friends being cabin crew. I made so many friends at my base that I was at, my main base, but then also when I used to be sent to different bases, I used to make so many friends there as well. So it's so good, like you get to make friends in your base, but then when you get sent away, like you make loads of friends there as well. So it's so good, like you make friends wherever you go, and 99.9% of people are lovely, so it's really easy to make friends, to be fair. It is really nice. I miss my cabin crew friends, so cute. Is there cliques? This is an interesting one. Never been asked that before. Oh my god. I was about to get a headbutt over the lights. Okay. Is there cliques? So I'm guessing you mean like friendship cliques. What I would say is when you start cabin crew and you're obviously a new starter, sometimes what I found is that you, how do I put this? Obviously some people have been there for like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, like people have been there a long time, so they've obviously formed their friendships and their cliques or whatever, however you want to say it. and some people can be a little bit like frosty towards you when you're new. I'm just speaking from my experience. I got that a little bit when I first started, especially like if you're going on a flight and all of the crew are like, I've been there for ages and you're the only newbie, it can be a little bit like daunting. But you get over that once you get into it, and you know, you become more confident and you're not as shy, and you get to know more people. That does like fade away. So yeah, there were a few cliques at my base, and even when I went to different bases, but I think that's just where people obviously form their friendships and they've been there for so long and that's just their friends. And but I suppose people are quite cliquey, but then that's not everyone. That's just literally a minority of people that were quite cliquey that I found. But no, not really, like a little bit, mainly when I first started though, and then once people get to know you, it's fine. I suppose like people are just like, oh, like who's a newbie, or like whatever. But yeah, that's that one. Are you a nervous flyer? Interesting story to be fair. I used to be really nervous of flying. So weird, like I didn't really enjoy flying. Like I wasn't like a comfortable flyer. I used to get quite nervous. I mean, I would fly, but I wouldn't be overly like, oh my god, I love flying. Like I didn't really enjoy it. I used to get nervous like every time I was hear like a bump or like a, oh my god, a bit of turbulence. I'd be like, oh my god, like what's that? Like I was quite a nervous flyer. So I don't really know why I applied for the job, but I thought, you know what, like why not? So I just applied for the job, even knowing that I am a nervous flyer. But then it's so weird because when you're actually working on a plane, like it's obviously a lot different to being a passenger. Like you're working, like you're getting on with your jobs, you're getting on with your day. Like you don't really have time to be nervous. I know that sounds mad, but you don't. Like you're so busy and you're like chatting to people and you're doing this, you're doing that, and before you know it, the flight's over and you're like, oh my god, like, you know, you're so like busy, you don't really have time to be nervous about or anything like that. So I would say that I was a nervous flyer, but I'm not a nervous flyer anymore. And obviously when you are crew, you learn about like turbulence and you learn about everything, so you're more educated on everything like that. So you have nothing to be nervous about. You know what turbulence is, you know what that noise was, you know this, you know that, so you've got nothing to be nervous about. It's just when you don't know, you're like, oh my god, like what's that? But I was a nervous flyer, but not anymore, no. So worst parts of your job. Okay, worst parts of my job. The thing that I used to hate the most was the early mornings. I literally used to get so grumpy. I was not a morning person. Now when I say morning, I don't mean like 6, 7 a.m. I mean like 1 a.m. wake up calls, like 2 a.m. wake up calls were just not my thing at all. Because obviously I didn't really get much sleep waking up at 1 a.m. I tried to go to sleep at like 8 o'clock in the evening, but I just couldn't because it's too early to go to bed. And I'd end up having no sleep, and I'd end up working for having no sleep, and I'd just be exhausted. And I'm not the type of person to be able to work on no sleep. Like I need my 8-9 hours sleep before I can even deal with the day ahead of me. So that was the one thing I used to hate. I used to hate having early flights, like ridiculously early flights. I used to actually hate it. I used to be like, no, I don't want to do it. Like I used to get in such like a grump because I hadn't had much sleep the night before, and it was just me and no sleep, just no, not my thing. So I didn't like that. Another thing is, what else did I not like? For me personally was the journey, because obviously I don't drive. So I used to have to get to the train station, then get a train to the flyer, then get the flyer to the airport, and it was a bit of an arse to do that. So yeah, it was a bit of a ball ache to have to do all that. and that's even before you've started your day. Do you know what I mean? So you've had to do like 2 hours worth of travelling before you've even started your day. So yeah, I didn't enjoy that at all, really. I mean, I didn't mind as much because I'd like, sometimes I do my makeup on the train, or I do like stuff on my phone to do with Instagram on the plane, like reply to like emails and stuff like that. I would use that time for doing other things. So it was alright, and I just listened to my music. I don't mind like being on trains and stuff like that. I really enjoy it when I got my headphones in. Like, I don't mind at all. But it was the fact that it would have been easier just to hop in a car 45 minutes down the road and then you're at the airport. But yeah, it wasn't so much I didn't like that, it was a hassle, and especially with traffic, that road up to the airport when you're on the flyer, traffic just, it wasn't great at all, and nearly made me late a few times. So yeah, I'd say that was another thing I didn't like. What else didn't I like? Early mornings, not being able to drive. Another thing that I used to not enjoy was having to work like back to back. So say if you would have a really early flight and then you'd get home and then literally have to go again like 8-9 hours later and hardly have any time to do anything. You'd literally go to sleep and you're back again, like you didn't have any time to yourself at all. That was another thing that I used to struggle with. But again, like I used to get used to it, but it was hard. It's hard because like a job like that, it becomes your life because you're putting, you know, all your time into it. Apart from that, I can't really say anything else that I really didn't enjoy about it because I literally loved the job. The job was amazing. What happened on your rescue flights with Thomas Cook? So rescue flights were, obviously they were quite hard because obviously we were made redundant. It wasn't the best time, do you know what I mean? We were just trying to get passengers home safely and have any like drink or food or anything like that, because obviously we didn't have any, like we wasn't an airline anymore, so we didn't have any stuff, bring all our own stuff. So yeah, it was just a weird time, to be honest. It was just like an end of an era, really. It was just weird, like having to work through that. But you know, we all wanted to work till the end and get everybody home because we loved our job. So yeah, it was okay, but it was bittersweet. It was very sad. Like a lot of cabin managers would do like a thank you announcement, and that was always quite sad because, you know, like you've only got a few flights left and then that's it. So yeah, they were okay. They were like bittersweet, like I said. Start to finish, day in the life of crew. So start to finish of my day for cabin crew would be, so I will try and cut this down short because otherwise I'll be here forever. So let's say you had a night flight that was at like, check-in was at like 5:30 in the evening. So I'd leave my house a good few hours before because obviously I didn't drive. I had to get the train, I had to get the flyer, had to get to the airport without driving. It used to take me a good couple of hours at least for that journey from my house. So yeah, from that journey from my house to the airport used to take me like a good couple of hours, sometimes a few hours depending on traffic and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be the first thing that I do. So I'd get on the train to flyer to the airport. So at the moment I'd be so you'd get dropped off at the airport, but then our little office was like around the corner, so I'd have to walk all the way down the road and then around the corner, and then our meeting area was in this little room. So then you'd go in, you'd log in, say that you're here, go and sit down, go and print off your little sheet, and then you'd go and sit down with your crew that you were with on that flight. Sometimes, and 9 times out of 10, I'd be quite early because obviously I'd allow myself a lot of time. So if there was no traffic or anything like that, I'd be early. So I'd just be on my phone, just sat there, reading like the flights and stuff like that. So then I'd wait for your crew, and then you wait for your cabin manager. You would have this thing that's called a brief. I didn't enjoy this. This is probably another thing that I didn't really like. I mean, our base was okay because at our base you was asked questions in this brief more as a group. So you were kind of asked questions as a group to discuss it. It was more of a discussion than like a what's the answer to this question. Whereas when I went to other bases like Gatwick and Cardiff, I noticed that they would ask you a question directly, and some of them were quite harsh. Like if you got it wrong, they'd ask you again, and if you got that wrong, some people would actually stand you down from a flight. So what that means is that you don't know your stuff enough to actually go on a flight. So that was like the reason why they would do these discussions, to make sure that you're on the ball, you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing, kind of thing. And it was quite daunting. Like obviously if you didn't know the answer, you'd be like, oh my god. And I'm not an on the spot kind of person. I need to, like, if you ask me a question on the spot, I'm like, I freeze, and I might know the answer, but I'll be like I would just, my whole mind would go blank, and especially if it's in front of people as well. And that can be quite daunting, because obviously everyone's like looking at you and you're like, oh my god, I didn't know the answer. But whereas I preferred group discussions because you would all discuss the answer and it wasn't like intimidating or anything like that. So yeah, so you'd have your brief and then you'd have a little chat. You might have like 5 minutes. You'd have to wait for the pilots to come in, and sometimes they're not there yet or something, so you'd have like 5 or 10 minutes just to chill. And then when the pilots get there, you go out, put your little high vis on, because that's what you had to put on when you're walking up to the plane. So you go through security. Security is obviously no different to our security, like when we go through the airport, it's exactly the same. Obviously it's a little bit quicker and stuff like that because there's like not a lot of you there. I had this little liquid bag that I put all my liquids in. I used to take this bag through every single time and it was absolutely fine. And then one day I had this woman that was really, really awkward, and she made me tip my whole bag out into the tray, and I was absolutely fuming. All my stuff was everywhere, and she's like, oh, you can't have that. And I was like, oh, for God's sake. And at this point, like, obviously we were like holding up, because I was holding everyone up and it was embarrassing, and it was only like my 3rd or 4th flight, and I was like, oh my God. So yeah, it depends who you get on there. They can be a bit funny sometimes, but yeah, literally go through security. So you're at the, you're waiting for your little shuttle thing to come across. You get on that, and then that takes you to your aircraft. And then whatever position that you've been given in your brief, so whether that's like at the back, in the middle, at the front with the cabin manager, you'd go to your bit that you'd have to go to, and then you would set up for your flight. So you would do your security check, you would do anything that that your role was in your area, if that makes sense. I won't say that the names and stuff because you'd be like, what the hell is that? You'd go into your like bits that you were supposed to go into, and then you would do your duties, and you would wait for the passengers. And then you would stand at your door and then wait for the passengers, greet the passengers to come in, and then you would start your flight. I'm trying to cut this down short. Obviously there's things in between, but like from start to finish it's a lot, so I would be here for about an hour and I don't want to bore you with that. So I'm just trying to think. So yeah, you would go start your flight. So obviously out of your crew seat, you start your flight. So depending on where you're at, if you're at the back, you'd start obviously with the trolleys, with the food and the drinks and stuff like that. And then if you're at number 2, you would go to the front with the cabin manager and whoever's at the front with the cabin manager. And if you're number 3, you go at the back with the 2 people that are at the back and help them. And then obviously you'd go through with your trolley and do like food and drinks, tea and coffee, wines and stuff like that. Then you go through with meals, and you go through duty free, etc, etc. You get the gist, like a normal flight. Then we'd have our breaks, and just chat and chill and stuff like that. So if a flight is 3 hours long or 4 hours long or even 2 hours long, if it was 2 hours long, you'd be in a rush. You'd be like, oh my God, I need to get this done. But if it was like 3-4 hours long, sometimes you'd get a nice little break, depending on how long the flight is. But yeah, and then obviously you'd land, get the passengers off, again do your like security and stuff like that, and then it's your time to go home, and do it all again the next day. So yeah, that's kind of a day in the life, very short and brief, but that is basically the gist of it. So yeah, next question. What were the pilots like? Most of the majority of pilots I met were really, really nice. So you'd have like some that were like really lovely, like had been there for like 30 years, like really nice people. Sometimes you get like sleazy pilots, and that was just like, no, you just didn't want to get involved in that drama, do you know what I mean? Stay away. Like everyone kind of knew who they were, so everyone just used to like be like, no, like stay away from blah blah or whatever. But majority I came across were lovely, like they were just like normal. Sometimes what you do is you sit in the flight deck. I sat in the flight deck for my first flight, which was really fun. So you take off in the flight deck, and then when you land, you're in the flight deck again. That was really weird on my first flight. I was like, oh my god, this is really weird, but such a good experience. So if you do start cabin crew and you get a chance to do that, then do it, because it is amazing. Yeah, most of them were fine. I had no problems really with anyone when I was at Thomas Cook. So yeah. What airline would you want to go to next? So I applied for Virgin when I left Thomas Cook. Unfortunately I didn't get the job, but that was kind of like my dream airline. I always said to myself while I was even working at Thomas Cook, I thought I really want to work for Virgin, like that would be like amazing. And I went on a Virgin flight to New York as I applied for it as well, and I was like, oh my god, like maybe this is meant to be, but it didn't work out. But that's just life, like some things are meant for you, some aren't. But then obviously coronavirus hit, so in a way maybe that was meant to be, because obviously a lot of people that applied there and got the job actually lost their job, so maybe it was all meant to be. I wasn't meant to get the job obviously because corona was around the corner. So yeah, but I would have loved to work for Virgin, but never say never. But yeah, they're like my dream airline, I'd say, to work for. Or Emirates, but with Emirates you need to stay away, and I'm not in a position to do that. But there was a time that I was thinking about working for Emirates, but again, that's kind of like a life-changing decision, because you'd be in like Dubai for like 3 years, I think it was, when I applied. So I did apply and I got the interview, and I just never went because I was like, I just don't think, I just didn't think I was in the right time to do that, or the right place to do that. So yeah, but that would be so cool as well, to work for Emirates. Okay, I got a few more in here, but this video is getting a bit lengthy, so I'm going to pick one more question. So the last one was, training hard, did you want to give up? So me and training was bloody hilarious. Training was probably the hardest training that I'd ever done, because obviously I'd never done a job like this before. I'd worked in like retail, I'd worked in office jobs, I've done some bar work, call centres. Like I never ever worked in a really good job like this, and I'd never really experienced like proper hard work, like hard work in training. The training is very intense, I will tell you that now. If you're going for cabin crew, you have to be like, in them 6 weeks, nothing else matters. Like not your friend, not going out with your friends, like not like anything that you would consider like, oh, like that's what I do in my pastime. Like all of that goes out the window. Like you are training and you're studying, you're training and you're studying, you're training and you're studying. You're literally, that's all you're doing in 6 weeks. Like you're doing nothing else. It's very intense. But it's 100% worth it at the end. When that feeling when you've passed was unreal to me, because as I said, I'd never like had something like this before. Like that was a respectable job, that was like, I was so proud to have that job. I was like, yes, like I've finally done something that's like bang, like you've done it, do you know what I mean? So yeah, but you are literally like, you're like, I had to get up at like 5 in the morning, get the train to Bristol, because my training was in Bristol. I used to then have to get there for a certain time. I think it was like 8 o'clock or something like that. So I would be, and then sometimes it was earlier, which was bloody hard, because the earlier it was, the earlier I had to get up and the earlier I had to leave. And because obviously I didn't drive again, so it was all about trains and all of that malarkey. But it was all worth it in the end. But even like if you can't drive, don't think you can't do it, because I did it and I didn't drive. Anything's possible, like you can do it. There are trains, there are things in place for you to do it, and I was very lucky. I had my dad as well that would take me back and forth when obviously the trains wasn't in service on times of my flights and stuff like that. But obviously that is very, very lucky. Like not a lot of parents would do that, so I would say probably it is best to drive. Obviously it's more practical, but if you do have someone, a family member that is willing to take you, then take that opportunity, because without that I would have never done that job. But yeah, so there were times I thought, oh my god, this is really hard, where I would be, obviously you would have to study at home for an exam the next day. Like you'd literally have an evening to study and your exam would be the next day. Like there wasn't like a week in your exam, like your exam was the next day. So yeah, the training was really, really intense. You would have to study, and I was never very academic at school. I wasn't very good at revising. I can't focus very long. I get bored. I'm like, oh god, like just wasn't interested. But I think because I wanted this job so bad that I really did knuckle down. Yeah, them exams are crucial. Like if you fail, I think like if you fail 3 times on one, then they will contemplate like taking you off of the course. So yeah, it's very intense, but I did it and I passed all my exams and I was really proud of myself. So yeah, I say if you're gonna do it, you're all in. Like them 6 weeks, you're all in. Like nothing else matters. I had to literally not see my friends hardly. I had to put Instagram to one side. I had to do all like my hobbies and stuff that I'd done outside of that. They had to go to one side, because your training is very intense, and they tell you that at the start. They're like, this is going to be your life for the next 6 weeks. If you're not on it, then don't bother, because you have to be all in. But it is very, very rewarding when you get your certificate. And you get, you know, everyone clapping you and well done. Like it's amazing, the feeling when you get your wings at the end. So why is that gone weird? Yeah, that's better. So yeah, but I won't answer any more questions now because I feel like this video is really long. But I hope you guys like that video. I hope it helped for anyone out there that wants to start cabin crew. For anyone that, I know obviously with COVID and everything, but it's still possible. Like people are still applying for cabin crew, like they're still taking on crew, from what I've seen anyway. So, you know, don't let that stop you. So I hope that did help anyone that wanted to know a bit more about it, a bit more of what I'd done. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe and share, please, if you can, because that would really help me out. If you want any more videos like this about cabin crew, or if you want any specific questions answered, then please leave in the comments below, and I will do another video. That's no problem, because I love talking about this. I could talk about it all day, so that's why I didn't want to jabber on anymore, because this video is long enough. So yeah, if you did want any more videos done like this, then let me know, or if you want any more question and answer videos done on anything, then let me know. See you in the next one. Bye guys.